The WNBA season is heating up, and tonight's matchup between the Atlanta Dream and the Indiana Fever isn't just another game. It's a battle between two young teams fighting to prove they belong in the playoff picture. You've got Rhyne Howard leading the charge for Atlanta, Caitlin Clark starting to find her rhythm for Indiana, and Aliyah Boston establishing herself as one of the most dominant forces in the paint. Every possession in this game could tell us something about the future of the league. Welcome back to Beyond the Box Score, the channel where we break down the game with real analysis, not just highlights. If you love deep dives into basketball strategy, player development, and predictions that go beyond surface-level takes, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss a breakdown like this one. Let's get into it. When two rising franchises meet in the heart of the WNBA schedule, the stakes always feel bigger than just another regular season contest. The Atlanta Dream and the Indiana Fever have both been riding waves of momentum this season, but they've also faced stretches of inconsistency that leave fans, scouts, and analysts questioning just how far each team can go. This game becomes not only a clash of styles but also a litmus test for where these organizations are in their development arcs. Both sides are building around young stars, both have invested in depth, and both are seeking to establish themselves in the playoff picture. Let's break it all down with a clear lens on form, matchups, metrics, and scouting insights. Recent team form. Starting with the Atlanta Dream, their last 10 games have been a mix of highs and lows. At their best, they've shown the ability to push the pace, score efficiently in transition, and get production from multiple levels of their roster. At their worst, they've struggled with turnovers, inconsistent half-court execution, and lapses on the defensive glass. Over this stretch, their offensive rating has hovered in the 101 to 103 range, placing them middle of the pack league-wide. Defensively, they've slipped slightly, ranking around 8th or 9th depending on the timeframe you isolate, largely due to rebounding issues and foul trouble from their frontcourt. The Fever, meanwhile, have been trending upward after a rocky start to the year. Over their last 10, they've managed to stabilize their defense while continuing to develop offensive chemistry between their young core. Their offensive rating has jumped into the 104 to 106 territory, fueled by improved spacing and better shot selection. Defensively, they're still inconsistent, ranking closer to the bottom third of the league, but their last 5 games have shown marked improvement, with opponents shooting under 42% from the field and struggling to generate second-chance points. Indiana has also started to win close games, which signals growth for a team that has historically struggled in late-game execution. Home and away splits matter, too. Atlanta has been stronger on their home floor, feeding off the energy of their crowd, but their road form is streaky. Indiana, on the other hand, has used home games to build confidence but hasn't been as sharp when traveling. This particular matchup in Indianapolis becomes important because the Fever are showing signs of turning Gainbridge Fieldhouse into a tougher place to play. Key player matchups. Every big game boils down to matchups, and this one offers several layers. The backcourt duel will grab the spotlight. Rhyne Howard for the Dream versus Caitlin Clark for the Fever. Howard has been Atlanta's steadying force, able to score from all 3 levels while providing length and defensive versatility. She'll likely draw stretches defending Clark, though Atlanta may mix in traps and switches to disrupt Indiana's flow. Howard's ability to force turnovers and create in transition could be the single most important factor for Atlanta. Clark, meanwhile, continues to find her rhythm in the WNBA. Her playmaking vision remains elite, and she's cutting down turnovers compared to her first month in the league. Against Atlanta, she'll be tasked with balancing scoring aggression and facilitating for Aliyah Boston in the paint. Atlanta's perimeter defenders will test her stamina and composure, but Clark's shooting range means Atlanta can't sag or gamble. If she gets hot from deep, Indiana's offense opens dramatically. In the frontcourt, Aliyah Boston versus Cheyenne Parker will be a battle of strength and positioning. Boston is Indiana's anchor, efficient in the post, dominant on the boards, and improving as a passer out of double teams. Parker brings veteran savvy, mid-range touch, and toughness on the interior. Whoever controls the rebounding battle here could tilt the game's outcome. Atlanta will need Parker to stay disciplined defensively, as foul trouble has plagued their rotations in several losses. The wings also carry intrigue. Atlanta's Aliyah Gray offers perimeter defense and secondary scoring, while Indiana's Nalissa Smith provides rebounding and offensive punch. Both players thrive in transition and could be X factors if either team turns this into a fast-paced game. Statistical indicators. Looking at the advanced metrics, we see contrasting identities. Indiana ranks near the top third of the league in pace, averaging around 80 possessions per game, which allows them to maximize Clark's transition playmaking. Atlanta, meanwhile, is slightly slower but efficient when they can push off turnovers. In terms of effective field goal percentage, Indiana's recent improvement has pushed them to about 50%, while Atlanta hovers closer to 47%. That difference underscores Indiana's edge in shot creation and perimeter efficiency. Assist-to-turnover ratio is another telling stat. Indiana has trended upward, nearing 1.6 over their last 10 games, compared to Atlanta's 1.3. That suggests the Fever are moving the ball more effectively and limiting mistakes, whereas the Dream can sometimes get bogged down in isolation sets. On the boards, Atlanta has been inconsistent. Their rebounding differential sits slightly negative, meaning they give up more second-chance opportunities than they generate. Indiana, with Boston and Smith, has managed a positive margin lately, especially on the offensive glass. If that trend holds, Indiana could control tempo and shot volume. Defensively, both teams have vulnerabilities. Atlanta forces turnovers at a higher clip, around 16% of opponent possessions, which allows them to manufacture easy points. Indiana, however, has been better at contesting shots without fouling, keeping opponents under 18 free throws per game during their recent surge. Roster and depth impact. Both teams rely on depth, but their benches bring different strengths. Atlanta has used Ari McDonald as a sparkplug guard, providing energy and perimeter defense. Naz Hillman offers hustle and rebounding in limited minutes. However, their bench production can be streaky, and when their starters struggle, Atlanta doesn't always get the needed scoring punch. Indiana's bench has quietly become a strength. Lexi Hull has emerged as a reliable 3-and-D contributor, while Kelsey Mitchell continues to provide veteran scoring and leadership whether starting or coming off the bench. Christy Wallace gives defensive toughness, and Temi Fagbenel adds interior depth. The Fever's rotations are beginning to look more balanced, which matters in the grind of close games. Injury reports are critical, too. If either team is missing a key rotation player, it shifts the equation. Atlanta has dealt with stretches of nagging injuries to Parker, while Indiana has been cautious with Smith's workload at times. Minute restrictions or foul trouble could swing momentum quickly in a game where rotations are so important. Player development, scouting insight. This matchup is also a showcase of two franchises investing in young stars. For Indiana, Clark and Boston form the cornerstone. Clark's growth has been noticeable. She's adjusted to WNBA defensive pressure, learned when to attack, and when to facilitate. Boston, in year 2, has built on her Rookie of the Year campaign with improved touch and confidence in clutch situations. Their synergy is the key to Indiana's long-term ceiling. For Atlanta, Rhyne Howard remains the centerpiece, but the story of this season has been how her teammates are growing around her. Aliyah Gray has elevated her consistency, becoming a reliable secondary scorer. Ari McDonald continues to show defensive flashes. Naz Hillman, though still developing offensively, has shown strides in rebounding instincts. Atlanta is betting that these young players will form a nucleus around Howard capable of contending in the years to come. From a scouting perspective, this game offers a direct lens into how these developmental arcs intersect. If Clark outduels Howard, it might accelerate Indiana's rise. If Howard asserts herself and Atlanta's supporting cast steps up, it could reinforce the Dream's position as a playoff mainstay. Historical and contextual factors. Head-to-head, Atlanta has held a slight edge over Indiana in recent seasons, though most games have been competitive. Earlier matchups this year showed contrasting outcomes. One game where Indiana's backcourt controlled pace, and another where Atlanta's defense forced turnovers and swung momentum. That inconsistency mirrors where both teams are in their growth, talented but still finding consistency. Context matters here. Both teams are battling for playoff positioning in the middle of the standings. Every win could shift seeding and determine whether they're facing a top-tier opponent in the first round or earning a more favorable draw. For Indiana, building confidence in big games is essential to their young core's growth. For Atlanta, proving they can execute consistently against rising teams validates their trajectory. Final prediction: lean. So who has the edge? The Fever entered this matchup with slightly more momentum, driven by Clark's playmaking growth and Boston's inside dominance. Their improved ball movement and rebounding give them a statistical edge. If they control the boards and hit open threes, Indiana should have enough to secure a win on their home floor. But Atlanta is not without a path. If Howard can disrupt Clark defensively, force turnovers, and ignite Atlanta's transition game, the Dream can flip the pace in their favor. Their ceiling is higher when Howard and Gray both score efficiently, and if Parker avoids foul trouble, they can neutralize Boston just enough. The balanced take is this: Indiana holds a slight edge at home, particularly if Clark establishes rhythm early. The Fever's rebounding and assist-to-turnover profile suggest they're better positioned for consistency. Atlanta's upside is undeniable, but they need near-perfect execution to win in Indianapolis. The lean here is toward Indiana in a close, competitive contest, something like 84-79, with Clark and Boston leading the way. That's going to wrap up our breakdown of the Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever. This game isn't just about the final score, it's about watching young stars rise, systems being tested, and teams fighting for their place in the WNBA hierarchy. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to drop a like, and let me know in the comments who you think comes out on top, Atlanta or Indiana. I read every comment, and your takes help drive the conversation. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to Beyond the Box Score and hit that notification bell, so you never miss a breakdown, prediction, or post-game analysis. We've got plenty more coming your way this season, and you don't want to miss it.